Let me paint the picture for you. Basketball-playing aliens land on Earth to restore balance to the universe by destroying life as we know it. But instead of coming with a 10-foot-long double-edged sword, they're coming with a basketball. So they challenge us to a do-or-die game for control of the world. For this hypothetical scenario, which players would you trust with your life to win this game? This whole concept was inspired by the Avengers Endgame movie, and this video is based on the final chapter of the all-time greatest NBA book, counting down the 50 greatest teams, playoff runs by a player, playoff moments, and the 100 greatest players, written by yours truly. The link is in the description box for you to purchase your copy today. I also have to put the disclaimer that there are going to be spoilers for the most watched movie in the history of the world. So if you haven't watched it yet, well, where have you been? Anyways, the Endgame movie presents and executes a theory that they could travel back in time using the quantum realm to help the Avengers retrieve the Infinity Stones from the past to reverse the actions of Thanos in the present. They use Pym particles to shrink to subatomic size and enter the quantum realm. Tony Stark and the Hulk then make the necessary technology and voila, the Avengers are now time travelers. They are not able to go to specific periods of time to retrieve all the Infinity Stones. That helps set the epic battle between the Avengers against Thanos and his Black Order army. That's what we're going to be doing here. In a hypothetical winner-take-all game against the aliens, we'll surely want the best of the best fighting to save life as we know it. So as we're picking our team, we'll surely think of players like Michael Jordan or LeBron James to be on the team. That's a given. But what version of Michael Jordan are we picking? Do we want the 1996 version of Jordan that led his team to 72 wins? Or do we want the 1991 version where he was in his athletic prime? That specific detail is extremely important, as we want to make sure that we are picking the best version of that player and the version that will fit seamlessly with the group of players that will be surrounded with. There are two specific qualities that I'm looking for in the players to be able to fight for our existence. The first thing is they have to be complete players. They have to have little to no weaknesses in their game. If there are question marks with offensive game like Russell Westbrook or Dennis Rodman, or if they're too much of a defensive liability like Steve Nash or James Harden, then it would be too risky to include them. The second thing would be the toughness factor. This is going to be the fight for their lives. Not all players play the same when the pressure is that great. Remember, this isn't a 7-game series. This is a Game 7 type of scenario. It's a winner-take-all game. So we are looking for players that don't shy away from the big moments and that have that reputation of having that dog in them. So without further ado, let's start selecting the world-saving team. At point guard, we are going back to 1987 and taking Magic Johnson. There is no debate that this is the best version of him. He averaged 23.9 points per game on 52% shooting, 12.2 assists per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, and 1.7 steals per game. He was a league MVP, and the Lakers had the most dominant season of their storied franchise. Magic was still the game's best distributor, as he led the league in assists. But he also displayed a complete offensive game. He was lethal in the fast break, he had an unstoppable post-up game, and he had a respectable outside touch from the perimeter. He also had plenty of clutch moments that year. In the regular season, he had game winners against the Celtics and Sonics. And this was a year where he famously made the game winner in Game 4 of the finals on the road against the Boston Celtics. This pick is a no-brainer. At shooting guard, we are going back to 1992 and taking Michael Jordan. We want Michael to still be in his athletic prime, but it's important that he has some championship experience. This season, he averaged 30.1 points per game on 52% shooting, 6.4 rebounds per game, 6.1 assists per game, and 2.3 steals per game. For this version of MJ, he was able to display an incredible array of offensive weapons. He was still the best at finishing above the rim and using his hang time to convert on impossible shots. He was also very efficient in the mid-range. And at this point in his career, he had developed a dangerous post-up game. But most importantly, the dude is one of the most psycho competitors and greatest clutch players of all time. This was specifically shown in the way he performed in Game 7 of the semifinal series against the New York Knicks. He He had 42 points on 51% shooting, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. He is a unanimous pick for this position. At small forward, we're going to 2013 and taking LeBron James. We want the greatest physical specimen at his athletic peak. At this point in his career, he already won a championship and had experience playing in a team full of talent. He also fully embraced the villain role and was a lot tougher mentally because of the aftermath of the decision. This version of LeBron was simply unfair. He averaged 26.8 points per game on 57% shooting, 8 rebounds per game, 7.3 assists per game, and 1.7 steals per game. Whenever he decided to go freight train mode on his defenders, there was no stopping him. But he was at a point where he had developed a consistent outside shot. This season, he averaged a career-high 40.6% from the three. There were no major weaknesses in his game. LeBron also built a reputation for being a clutch performer for the Miami Heat. He came up big in the 2 decided games in the finals that season. He had a 30-point triple-double in Game 6, and in Game 7, he had the stat line of 37 points on 52% shooting, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. The aliens are already in trouble with this unstoppable backcourt. At power forward, we're going back to 2003 and taking Tim Duncan. What makes him perfect for this squad is that he doesn't need the ball to make an impact. He will do the little things, especially on the defensive end, to help the team win. However, if you need to give him the ball, he's more than capable of holding his own. He's right behind Kevin McHale and Hakeem Olajuwon for having the most post-up moves, especially at this point in his career. He was the MVP for that season, as he averaged 23.3 points per game on 51% shooting, 12.9 rebounds per game, 3.9 assists per game, and 2.9 blocks per game. He might even be the unsung hero for this game. With all the attention going on the other players, they might dare Tim Duncan to be the one to save the day, and we would have no issue with that. All we have to do is point to his Game 6 performance in the semifinals when he unofficially ended the Kobe Shaq era. He finished that game with 37 points on 64% shooting, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. I mean, he's the greatest power forward of all time for a reason. At the center position, we're traveling back to the year 2000 and taking Shaquille O'Neal. He's the Incredible Hulk for this team. Shaq was in the best shape of his career at this point, and he was out to prove that he was a champion. The result was that he nearly became the first unanimous MVP. He averaged 29.7 points per game on 57% shooting, 13.6 rebounds per game, 3.8 assists per game, and 3 blocks per game. In this postseason, he had 5 total games where he scored over 40 points. Some might point out his Game 7 performance in the conference finals, when he had only 18 points, to argue that he wouldn't be himself in such a high-stakes game. Just like when the Hulk decided to bench himself for the entire Avengers Infinity War movie after getting TKO'd by Thanos. However, we should remember that the game plan of the Blazers was to throw 3 to 4 guys around him and force the others to win the game. With this squad that we have, the aliens are going to have a tough time deciding if to play him straight up or to give the poor defender some help. Either way, they're screwed. Now we want a bench that fits with the identity of the team that can keep up with the aliens for long stretches to keep our starting 5 fresh to close it out. For the backup point guard, we're going back to 2017 and choosing Steph Curry. He averaged 25.3 points per game on 47% shooting, 6.6 assists per game, and 4.5 rebounds per game. We saw how perfectly he adjusted his game with the addition of Kevin Durant. We saw how his impact on the floor allowed the Golden State Warriors to have the most dominant season of all time. So we know that Curry has experience with fitting in with a team that is full of talent. Our starting rotation doesn't have a player that is a strong 3-point shooter. That is when Steph Curry will come and make an impact in a major way. He's going to be able to help spread the floor, and he will draw so much attention from the defense. He'll be able to open things up for everyone else, even if he doesn't catch fire from the outside. It only makes sense to add the greatest shooter of all time. For the backup shooting guard, we're going back to 2006 and picking Kobe Bryant. When you talk about bringing a player off the bench for instant offense, this version of Kobe is on another level. We have the game where he scored 55 points in the second half against the Raptors when he had that legendary 81-point game. We have the game where he scored 30 points in the third quarter against the Dallas Mavericks when he scored 62 points in 3 quarters. We also have the time when he scored 40 points in the second half against the Los Angeles Clippers, which resulted in a 50-point game. There were 7 times that season when he scored 20 points in 1 quarter. Just like the 1992 version of Michael Jordan, Kobe has every offensive weapon in his arsenal. He averaged 35.4 points per game on 45% shooting, 5.3 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists per game, and 1.8 steals per game. The aliens are going to be so confused when they see that Jordan basically has a clone out there, ready to take over. For the backup small forward, we're going back to 1986 and picking Larry Bird. He averaged 25.8 points per game on 50% shooting, 9.8 rebounds per game, 6.8 assists per game, and 2 steals per game. He was the MVP for this season, and he was a leader for arguably the greatest team in NBA history. As great of a talent as he is, we need someone who can complement some of the superior scorers that we have on the team, and just focus on the little things on both ends of the floor that can mean the difference in winning. He's someone that's going to force turnovers by picking off passes. He's guaranteed to pull down at least 10 rebounds in the game to eliminate any second chance opportunities. He's someone that's going to keep the ball moving on offense. He's going to punish the smaller defender on the block, and he'll make the defense pay if they dare leave him open for a 3-pointer. I have a feeling that we would insert him for a variety of lineups that we can use, which can include a small ball lineup where he can play any position from 1 to 4. By the end of the game, the aliens might come to fear him more than anyone else other than Jordan. For the backup power forward, we're going back to 2004 and picking Kevin Garnett. We want to bang his head against the basket as he shouts curse words at himself, KG. This choice was easy, as he completely fits the criteria that we're looking for in the players. He averaged 24.2 points per game on 50% shooting, 13.9 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, 2.2 blocks per game, and 1.5 steals per game. He was the MVP that year for a reason. The prime example of Garnett showing up big in a high-pressure game came in Game 7 against the Sacramento Kings in the semifinals. He had 32 points on 52% shooting, 21 rebounds, 5 blocks, 4 steals, and 2 assists. The performance was all-time great, but what impresses me the most was the mentality that he had. The day before the game, Garnett said that he was ready for war. Some people took offense to that, but he stood by his comment. If he was comparing a game with the Minnesota Timberwolves season on the line as war, imagine how he would prepare for a game with the future of humanity on the line. His head just might explode, and that's what we want. He's going to be all over the floor, and he's going to light a fire on this team that will get everybody going. We won't need him to score many points, but to focus on doing all the dirty work. It's a role that he was born to play. For the backup center, we're going back to 1972 and picking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. When you're the owner of the surest 2 points in history title, then you have to be on the team. He had 5 50-point games that season, so he was a huge problem for defenses. We also have to take into consideration that we have to replace Shaq in crunch time because they will surely use a hack of Shaq tactic. And I think we all trust Kareem to keep a cool head in those moments. He averaged for that season 34.8 points per game on 57% shooting, 16.6 rebounds per game, and 4.6 assists per game. Those impressive numbers helped him win the MVP. We're not used to seeing the athletic Kareem, but he's known as the greatest center in history for a reason, and is mainly because of what he accomplished in the 70s. For the last 2 picks for the roster, we want players that can play multiple positions, ideally from point guard to power forward. That way, they can play any role on the court and present matchup problems for the defense. So we're going to travel back to 2017 and select Kevin Durant. He averaged 25.1 points per game on 54% shooting, 8.3 rebounds per game, and 4.8 assists per game. This is going to be our secret weapon. Do you need him to be a spot-up shooter? He can do that. Do you need him to bail you out if you're hell-bent on stopping Michael Jordan or every other legendary scorer that we have on the team? Then he can do that as well. He is a matchup nightmare that can open up things for everybody else on the floor, and he will be a key component for our small ball lineup we want to blow up the scoreboard. Last but not least, we're going back to 1994 and selecting Scottie Pippen. He's mainly here for defensive purposes. When the Endlies make a run, we're plugging Pippen in there to stop it quickly with a murderous press defense. He can also serve as your point guard and help get the offense going. His size and extraordinary all-around play is a reason why I decided to go with him instead of a player like Kawhi Leonard. For that season, he averaged 22 points per game on 49% shooting, 8.7 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists per game, and 2.9 steals per game. Here is our dream team. Starters, we got point guard 1987 Magic Johnson. For the shooting guard, 1992 Michael Jordan. Our small forward, 2013 LeBron James. Our power forward, 2003 Tim Duncan. Our center, 2000 Shaquille O'Neal. Now the bench. Our point guard, 2017 Stephen Curry. Shooting guard, 2006 Kobe Bryant. Small forward, 1986 Larry Bird. Power forward, 2004 Kevin Garnett. Our backup center, 1972 Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And for the last two spots, we have the 2017 Kevin Durant and 1994 Scottie Pippen. This hypothetical scenario is more than just a game that will impact a player's legacy. It's more than just winning a title for a city or an organization. This game is for their lives, the lives of their families, and the lives of the world. Think of it as Game 7 of the finals. Those games are usually ugly and very physical. And I believe we picked the group of guys that will play at a high level on both ends of the floor under such heavy pressure. This proves that the measure of greatness is more than just the individual talent of the player. It's how you respond under big moments of a game, and if you're able to do enough to lead your team to victory. I believe the world's in safe hands with these proven greats. But that's just my opinion. Who would you pick for your team? Make sure to comment with your opinion. Thanks for watching.